The rise of Made in the USA, a new era for American manufacturing. Have you ever wondered what's behind the popularity of Made in USA labels? At its core, Made in the USA refers to products manufactured, assembled, and sourced in the United States. It represents high-quality craftsmanship, adherence to labor standards, and, in many cases, a commitment to sustainability. But why is there such a sudden surge of interest in American manufacturing? In an era of global supply chain disruptions and growing awareness of environmental and ethical concerns, there is a strong desire to support local economies, create jobs, and ensure the integrity of manufacturing processes. Let's look at what's driving this renewed enthusiasm for American-made goods. What does Made in the USA mean? As I walk through the aisles of my local supermarket, I'm struck by the array of products proudly displaying those three patriotic words, Made in the USA. But what exactly does this label signify? Growing up, I always associated Made in the USA with quality and durability. It meant that the product I was buying wasn't just a commodity, but a testament to American craftsmanship and ingenuity. At its core, Made in the USA signifies a commitment to domestic production. This means that the item in question was manufactured within the borders of the United States. Therefore, its components and materials were sourced locally whenever possible. Made in the USA represents more than just a product's physical origin. It embodies values. It stands for fair wages, safe working conditions, and environmental responsibility. When you see that label, you can trust that the people behind the product are held to the highest standards. Why is there renewed interest in American manufacturing? There has been a noticeable revival of interest in American manufacturing. But why the sudden return to domestic production? The answer is a combination of factors contributing to a perfect storm of renewed enthusiasm for Made in the USA. One of the leading causes of this trend is consumers' increasing desire to support local economies. In a globalized age where products can be manufactured halfway around the world and delivered to our doorstep in days, purchasing goods made in our backyard is inherently reassuring. It is a way to invest in our communities, create jobs, and keep our money within our borders. But it's not just about patriotism and economics. There are practical reasons to buy American-made products. Several high-profile supply chain disruptions have occurred in recent years caused by natural disasters and geopolitical tensions. These events have highlighted the risks of relying too heavily on overseas production. Many businesses are rethinking their sourcing strategies and prioritizing domestic suppliers. Furthermore, people are becoming more aware of their purchasing decisions' environmental and ethical implications. Many consumers are becoming more aware of the carbon footprint associated with shipping goods halfway around the world and the labor practices used by foreign manufacturers. In addition to consumer demand, policy initiatives seek to revitalize American manufacturing. From tax breaks to regulatory reforms, policymakers are looking for ways to encourage businesses to invest in domestic production and create more jobs at home. These initiatives benefit established automotive and aerospace industries while encouraging innovation in emerging sectors like clean energy and advanced manufacturing. When did manufacturing start in the U.S.? To understand the rise of American manufacturing, we must journey back to the nation's early days. While the United States was initially founded as an agrarian society, farming was the primary economic activity. Manufacturing was soon after independence. Technological advancements, such as the cotton gin and the steam engine, laid the groundwork for industrialization in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. These innovations revolutionized production methods. Where did manufacturing begin in the U.S.? New England is the birthplace of American manufacturing, especially the region's thriving textile industry. In the early 19th century, entrepreneurs like Francis Cabot Lowell and Samuel Slater established textile mills in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, using water wheels to power their machinery. The establishment of these mills marked the beginning of the factory system in America. Goods were produced in centralized locations using mechanized processes. These factories transformed New England and laid the foundation for the country's industrial might. What caused the growth of manufacturing and factories in America? There are several factors that contributed to the rapid expansion of manufacturing. This includes the following: technological innovation. As mentioned earlier, advancements in machinery and production techniques were crucial in driving industrialization. The invention of the steam engine, in particular, revolutionized transportation and made it easier to transport goods across long distances, opening up new markets for American manufacturers. Abundant natural resources. The United States was blessed with abundant natural resources, including coal, iron ore, and timber, which provided the raw materials necessary for industrial production. This made it cheaper and more efficient to produce goods domestically rather than relying on imports. Access to capital. The rise of banking and financial institutions in the early 19th century gave entrepreneurs the capital they needed to invest in machinery, infrastructure, and labor. This access to funding fueled the expansion of factories and manufacturing operations nationwide. Government support. Federal and state governments significantly supported manufacturing growth through policies such as protective tariffs and subsidies. These measures helped to shield domestic industries from foreign competition and incentivize investment in manufacturing, population growth, and urbanization. The rapid growth of the American population, fueled by immigration and internal migration, created a ready market for manufactured goods. This, coupled with the rise of urban centers, provided a concentrated labor force for factories and manufacturing plants. Where did most manufacturing occur in the United States? Manufacturing has been a vital part of the American economy for centuries, but where exactly did most of it occur? Let's take a closer look at the top 5 manufacturing hubs in the United States. The West, often referred to as the Rust Belt, and the West region, particularly states like Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana, has long been a manufacturing powerhouse. With its strong industrial base and skilled workforce, this region has historically been home to automobile manufacturing, steel production, and machinery manufacturing. The southeastern United States, including states like Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee, has emerged as a major manufacturing hub in recent decades. The region benefits from a favorable business climate, low taxes, and access to transportation networks, making it attractive to manufacturers in aerospace, automotive, and textiles. West Coast, California, with its diverse economy and proximity to Asia-Pacific markets, is a significant manufacturing center on the West Coast. Silicon Valley is renowned for its technology and electronics manufacturing, while Southern California is known for aerospace and entertainment-related manufacturing. Northeast, despite experiencing some decline in recent years, the Northeast remains an important manufacturing region, particularly in states like New York, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts. The region is known for its strength in pharmaceuticals, chemicals, and food processing industries. Texas is another key manufacturing hub thanks to its large land area, abundant natural resources, and business-friendly environment. The state is a leader in energy, petrochemicals, and electronics manufacturing industries. What is the current state of manufacturing in the United States? In recent years, manufacturing in the United States has undergone significant changes. While the industry has faced challenges such as outsourcing, automation, and global competition, there are signs of a resurgence in American manufacturing. One notable trend is reshoring manufacturing operations, as more companies bring production back to the United States from overseas. Rising labor costs in countries like China, increased automation, and concerns about supply chain resilience have led many companies to reconsider offshoring strategies. Additionally, technological advancements, such as 3D printing and robotics, are transforming the manufacturing industry, making production more efficient and cost-effective. This has led to a renewed focus on innovation and high-tech manufacturing in the United States. What was the effect of increased U.S. manufacturing? The increased emphasis on U.S. manufacturing has had several positive effects on the economy. This includes the following: job creation. Manufacturing provides millions of Americans with stable, well-paying jobs, supporting families and communities nationwide. These jobs often offer competitive wages and benefits, providing workers with financial security and opportunities for upward mobility. Moreover, manufacturing jobs tend to be concentrated in areas with fewer educational requirements. This makes them accessible to a wide range of workers and helps to reduce income inequality. Economic growth. A strong manufacturing sector contributes to overall economic growth by driving innovation, increasing productivity, and stimulating demand for goods and services. Manufacturing is a key driver of innovation, as companies invest in research and development to improve processes and develop new products. This innovation spills over into other sectors of the economy, creating new opportunities for growth and development. Additionally, manufacturing increases productivity by leveraging economies of scale and technological advancements. As a result, this leads to higher output per worker and overall economic efficiency. Lastly, the demand for goods and services generated by manufacturing activity creates a multiplier effect, stimulating economic activity in other sectors such as retail, transportation, and services. Trade balance. By producing more goods domestically, the United States can reduce its import dependence and improve its trade balance. When the United States imports more goods than it exports, it runs a trade deficit. This can negatively affect the economy, including currency devaluation and increased debt. By increasing domestic manufacturing, the United States can reduce its reliance on imports, narrowing the trade deficit and strengthening the overall economy. Additionally, a more balanced trade position reduces vulnerability to fluctuations in global markets and enhances economic stability. National security. A robust manufacturing base is essential for national security, ensuring that the country can produce critical goods, such as defense equipment and medical supplies, in times of crisis. Access to essential goods and materials may be restricted or disrupted during emergencies such as natural disasters or geopolitical conflicts. A strong domestic manufacturing sector also reduces dependence on foreign suppliers. It enhances the country's ability to respond to emergencies and maintain national sovereignty. Moreover, strategic industries such as aerospace, defense, and pharmaceuticals require a secure and reliable domestic manufacturing base to safeguard national security interests. Innovation and technology leadership. Investing in manufacturing fosters innovation and technological advancement, allowing the United States to maintain its leadership in key industries. Manufacturing drives technological progress by providing a platform for experimentation, collaboration, and learning. Companies that invest in manufacturing research and development often develop cutting-edge technologies that have applications beyond the manufacturing sector. Additionally, a strong manufacturing sector attracts skilled workers and encourages the growth of supporting industries such as engineering, software development, and materials science, further enhancing the country's technological leadership. What led to the decline of American manufacturing in the past? The decline of American manufacturing can be attributed to several factors that unfolded over several decades. One significant factor was the rise of globalization and increased competition from low-cost manufacturing countries. Additionally, technological advancements and automation led to increased productivity but reduced the need for labor in traditional manufacturing jobs. Another factor was shifting consumer preferences towards services and information technology away from traditional manufacturing sectors like textiles, steel, and automotive. Furthermore, changes in trade policies and the deindustrialization of urban areas contributed to the decline of manufacturing in the United States. How has globalization impacted the American manufacturing sector? Globalization has profoundly impacted the American manufacturing sector positively and negatively. On one hand, it has opened up new markets for American goods and allowed companies to access cheaper labor and resources overseas. This has led to increased efficiency and reduced costs for consumers. However, globalization has also resulted in intense competition from foreign manufacturers, particularly countries with lower labor costs and fewer regulations. This has pressured American manufacturers to cut costs, leading to outsourcing and offshoring production to countries with cheaper labor and fewer regulations. What were the consequences of outsourcing production overseas? Outsourcing overseas production had several consequences for the American manufacturing sector and the broader economy. One of the most significant consequences was the loss of manufacturing jobs in the United States. As companies moved production overseas to take advantage of lower labor costs, millions of American workers lost jobs, increasing unemployment and economic hardship in many communities. Additionally, outsourcing production overseas weakened the domestic supply chain and reduced the country's self-sufficiency in key industries. It also adversely affected innovation and technological development, as manufacturing expertise and knowledge were often transferred overseas along with production. Furthermore, outsourcing production overseas had environmental and social consequences, as companies in developing countries often operated with lower environmental and labor standards, leading to pollution, exploitation of workers, and human rights abuses. What economic factors are driving the return of manufacturing to the USA? Several key economic factors have contributed to the resurgence of American manufacturing. Let's examine them. Rising labor costs overseas. Labor costs in traditional manufacturing hubs like China have steadily increased in recent years. This trend has eroded the cost advantage of outsourcing production overseas, prompting many companies to reconsider the feasibility of offshoring. As a result, more businesses are bringing production back to the United States, where they can benefit from a skilled workforce and automation technologies that improve efficiency and productivity. Technological advancements. Advanced manufacturing technologies, such as robotics, artificial intelligence, and additive manufacturing, have revolutionized the manufacturing industry. These technologies have made it possible to automate repetitive tasks, increase production speed, and customize products on a large scale. By using these innovations, American manufacturers can compete more effectively with overseas rivals and meet the demands of today's rapidly changing market. Energy costs and supply chain resilience. The United States has experienced a boom in domestic energy production, particularly in the shale gas sector. This has led to lower energy costs for manufacturers, making production more cost-effective compared to countries with higher energy prices. Additionally, concerns about supply chain resilience and disruption, highlighted by events like the COVID-19 pandemic, have prompted companies to reassess their sourcing strategies and prioritize domestic suppliers to mitigate risks. Consumer preferences and brand image. There is a growing consumer preference for products made locally and manufactured sustainably. American-made goods are often perceived as higher quality, safer, and more environmentally friendly than their foreign counterparts. This shift in consumer sentiment has incentivized companies to invest in domestic manufacturing to capitalize on these market trends and enhance their brand image. How have policy changes influenced the resurgence of American manufacturing? Policy changes at the federal and state levels have significantly contributed to the resurgence of American manufacturing. It creates a more favorable business environment and incentivizes investment in domestic production. Let us examine these. Tax and regulatory reform. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 reduced the corporate tax rate and incentivized companies to invest in capital equipment and infrastructure. These tax cuts, combined with regulatory reforms aimed at streamlining permitting processes and reducing compliance burden, have made it easier and more affordable for businesses to operate in the United States. Trade policy. The Trump administration pursued a more protectionist trade policy, imposing tariffs on imported goods from countries like China and renegotiating trade agreements to address perceived unfair trade practices. While controversial, these measures have incentivized companies to restore production and reduce reliance on foreign suppliers by making domestic manufacturing more competitive. Investment in infrastructure and workforce development. Federal and state governments have invested in infrastructure projects and workforce development initiatives to support the growth of domestic manufacturing. This includes funding for transportation infrastructure, research and development grants, and vocational training programs to prepare workers for advanced manufacturing jobs. Reshoring incentives. Some states and local governments offer incentives, such as tax breaks and grants, to companies that bring production back to the United States or invest in domestic manufacturing facilities. These incentives help offset the costs of reshoring and encourage companies to reinvest in American communities. Which industries are leading the Made in the USA resurgence? Diverse industries reclaiming their foothold in the American market are driving the resurgence of Made in the USA manufacturing. These sectors use technological advancements, shifting consumer preferences, and supportive government policies to drive growth and innovation. Let's explore some of the industries leading the charge. Automotive. The automotive industry has long been a cornerstone of American manufacturing. It continues to play a central role in the Made in the USA resurgence. American automakers invest in domestic production facilities and expand their operations to meet the growing demand for electric vehicles and advanced technologies such as autonomous driving systems. Additionally, foreign automakers are increasingly establishing manufacturing plants in the United States to capitalize on the skilled workforce and access to key markets. Aerospace and defense. The aerospace and defense industry is another key driver of American manufacturing, with companies like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop Grumman leading the way. These companies invest in cutting-edge technologies and expand their production capacity to meet the growing demand for military aircraft, commercial airliners, and space exploration vehicles. In fact, the United States remains a global leader in aerospace and defense. This is thanks to its strong engineering talent pool, robust supply chain, and government support for research and development. Technology and electronics. Silicon Valley and other technology hubs across the United States are home to some of the world's most innovative companies in the technology and electronics sectors. From semiconductor manufacturing to consumer electronics, American companies are at the forefront of innovation, producing high-quality products that are in demand worldwide. The rise of 5G technology, artificial intelligence, and the Internet of Things drives growth in this sector. It creates opportunities for American manufacturers to lead in emerging markets. Pharmaceuticals and biotechnology. The COVID-19 pandemic has underscored the importance of a robust domestic pharmaceutical and biotechnology industry. American companies are ramping up production of vaccines, therapeutics, and medical devices to address public health needs and ensure national security. With advances in biotechnology and personalized medicine, the United States is poised to remain a global leader in healthcare innovation. Energy and renewable resources. The United States is experiencing a renaissance in energy production, driven by advances in shale gas extraction, renewable energy technologies, and energy storage solutions. American manufacturers are capitalizing on this trend by producing wind turbines, solar panels, battery systems, and other renewable energy components domestically. The transition to clean energy sources presents significant opportunities for job growth and economic development. What factors affect people's choices when buying goods made in the United States? Several factors influence consumers' purchasing decisions when considering goods made in the United States. Quality and reliability. Many consumers perceive products made in the USA to be higher quality and more reliable than their foreign counterparts. They believe that domestically produced goods undergo stricter quality control measures and adhere to higher manufacturing standards, leading to a superior end product. Patriotism and national identity. Some consumers are motivated by patriotism and national identity when choosing American-made goods. They feel pride in supporting domestic businesses and workers, contributing to the country's economy and upholding American values. Supporting the local economy is a significant factor for many consumers. By purchasing goods made in the USA, they feel they are contributing to the growth and prosperity of their communities, creating jobs, and supporting small businesses. Environmental concerns about the environmental impact of products, and the carbon footprint associated with shipping goods long distances influence some consumers' decisions. They believe buying locally produced goods reduces transportation emissions and supports sustainable manufacturing practices. Ethical manufacturing practices. Consumers are increasingly concerned about labor practices in overseas manufacturing facilities, such as low wages, poor working conditions, and worker exploitation. They prefer to support companies that adhere to fair labor standards and ethical business practices, often associated with American-made products. Transparency and traceability. Some consumers value transparency and traceability in the supply chain, preferring to know where their products come from and how they were produced. American-made goods often offer greater transparency and traceability, as manufacturers are subject to stricter regulations and oversight. What are the benefits that people think they get from buying American-made goods? Consumers perceive several benefits from buying American-made goods, which drive their preference for domestically produced products. Quality assurance. American-made products are often perceived as being of higher quality and reliability due to stringent manufacturing standards and quality control processes. Consumers believe that by buying American, they are getting a superior product that will last longer and perform better. Job creation and economic growth. Supporting American-made products helps create and sustain jobs in the United States, contributing to economic growth and stability. By purchasing domestically produced goods, consumers support local businesses and workers, boosting the overall economy. Environmental benefits. Buying American-made products can have environmental benefits, as they often have a lower carbon footprint than imported goods. By reducing the distance that products travel from the manufacturing facility to the consumer, American-made products help minimize transportation emissions and support sustainable manufacturing practices. Ethical manufacturing practices. American manufacturers are generally subject to stricter labor and environmental regulations compared to some overseas counterparts. Purchasing American-made products gives consumers confidence that the goods were produced in facilities that adhere to ethical labor standards and environmental regulations. National pride and patriotism. For many consumers, purchasing domestically produced goods is a matter of national pride and patriotism. They feel a sense of loyalty to American businesses and want to support the country's economy by buying products made by their fellow citizens. What challenges does American manufacturing still face despite its resurgence? Despite its resurgence, American manufacturing still faces several challenges that pose significant hurdles to its continued growth and competitiveness. Global competition. American manufacturers face stiff competition from overseas rivals, particularly countries with lower labor costs and less stringent regulations. This global competition pressures American companies to innovate, increase productivity, and reduce costs to remain competitive in the global marketplace. Skills gap. The manufacturing industry is grappling with a skills gap, with many companies struggling to find workers with the necessary technical skills and training to fill available positions. As the industry becomes increasingly technology-driven, there is a growing need for workers with expertise in robotics, data analysis, and advanced manufacturing techniques. Infrastructure needs. The United States' aging infrastructure poses challenges for manufacturers, including issues with transportation, logistics, and access to reliable energy sources. Investments in infrastructure are needed to modernize transportation networks, upgrade energy grids, and improve access to high-speed internet in rural areas. Supply chain disruptions. Recent events, such as the COVID-19 pandemic and natural disasters, have highlighted the vulnerabilities of global supply chains. American manufacturers face the risk of disruptions to their supply chains, including shortages of raw materials, parts, and components, which can impact production and increase costs. Regulatory burdens. Despite efforts to reduce regulatory burdens, American manufacturers still face complex and often inconsistent federal, state, and local regulations. Compliance with environmental protection, workplace safety, and taxation regulations can be costly and time-consuming for manufacturers, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises. Access to capital. Access to affordable capital remains challenging for many American manufacturers, particularly smaller firms and startups. Limited access to financing can hinder investment in new technologies, equipment upgrades, and expansion efforts, limiting the industry's ability to innovate and grow. Trade policy uncertainty. Uncertainty surrounding trade policies, tariffs, and international trade agreements can create challenges for American manufacturers, impacting export markets and supply chains. Trade disputes and retaliatory tariffs can disrupt global trade flows and create uncertainty for manufacturers planning future investments and expansion. Rising costs. Despite advancements in technology and productivity, American manufacturers face rising costs in labor, materials, and energy. Wage pressures, increases in raw material prices, and fluctuations in energy costs can erode profit margins and make it more challenging for manufacturers to compete. The rise of Made in the USA, a new era for American manufacturing. Conclusion. In conclusion, the resurgence of Made in the USA marks a significant shift in American manufacturing. A new era is emerging as businesses prioritize local production for reasons such as supply chain resilience, quality control, and consumer demand for ethically sourced products. Additionally, this trend revitalizes domestic industries and stimulates the United States' job creation and economic growth. Made in the USA is more than just a label. It promises quality, sustainability, and a rebirth of American innovation.